peoples of the worldwide federated internet. What's good? What's going on, friends, Romans, countrymen? Thank you. Lend me your ear. So, I had a Instagram page for this channel, which I no longer have. I'm not going to go back and forth with Instagram. I will probably create a Rumble page for this podcast today. Many of these social media platforms are kind of draconian in their rules as far as what you can and can't talk about. They are private companies. I understand they do have the right to do that, although I do believe they violate the protection clause given to them by Section 230. This is where I disagree with President Trump about Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. I do not believe Section 230 needs to be done away with. I believe Section 230 needs to be applied. The thing about the United States is we have this subjective application of law. If you are a low-level offender, then the law comes down on you with full force, and there is no loophole whereby you may be able to escape. But if you have enough money, enough influence, and enough power, the smallest, slightest, even sniff of a loophole, and you're out of it. That's a problem. That is not equity and justice, and that is a huge problem. President Trump does not do everything right. This is one of those areas where he is, in fact, 100% wrong. Section 230 just needs to be applied how it is. I think completely removing Section 230 presents a whole nother group of issues. But with that being said, I will also say that he has advisors I don't have. He knows things I don't know. So maybe there's some angle I have not considered that he knows. But with the knowledge I have now, I believe he's wrong about completely repealing Section 230. I think that would be very damaging to independent voices, but I could be wrong. There's much about these legal situations I don't understand. I let in with that because Instagram, okay, so I'm going to run you down the story. So my Instagram page had some issues when I first started the channel. I'd only had 2 or 3 videos up. I think to this date, I only have whatever videos I have on my YouTube channel and whatever I have posted on my podcast for the Thinkening, that's what I have on my Instagram, or had. I think it's like 7 videos, maybe, if that. I don't think I went over anything super controversial. Okay, so first, when I first started the page, I had some error. They noticed weird account activity. I've had this happen before. I know the game. I know what they were doing. So they said I had to verify my phone number because they noticed weird account activity. I did so. Verified my phone, which it took 2 days. Normally you put in your phone number, they send you a code, you log in. First day I did it, nothing. I got no code. I used both my Google Voice number and my cell phone number. Nothing. Okay, tried again the next day, was able to get in. All right, cool. See, what happened was they couldn't find anything in any of my videos that was controversial. That was crazy. I give my opinion on what I think about the facts presented to me. My opinion is not law. My opinion can be wrong. Oftentimes it is wrong. It is just my opinion. I'm a thinker. I think about a lot of things. I take in a lot of information, and I think about the information that I take in. So nothing on my podcast is extreme, or at least in my opinion. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I have bias because I'm speaking about myself, which that's possible. But I don't think I get extreme. I present what happened and I give my opinion about what happened. I guess across certain social media platforms, opinions are not welcome, which is 100% completely and outright odd to me. Nonetheless, I got my account back. Okay, cool. I posted a video. In that video, I literally read, and if you've listened to my last podcast, you know, for some reason, I kept saying common sense. The book I was reading from was Thomas Paine's Crisis. I'm reading from this book and just offering some opinions about some things that he said, not talking anything crazy, not getting out of hand. I have some criticisms for these social media platforms, but they're just my opinions. I guess opinions are not welcome. Again, for the second time, we've noticed some weird account activity. Okay, I put in my phone number for my account to be verified. Not verified. Okay, not getting any text. Finally, a day later, I get text to put in a code to verify my account. I go to verify my account. What's the next thing I see? Oh, we'll take 24 hours and we'll verify your account and then you'll get access back to it. And I knew exactly what was going on. They were scrubbing through. Like I said, I only had 6-7 videos on there. They were scrubbing through every single video with a fine-tooth comb, looking to find any reason that I violated their terms of service so they can delete me. I only had 56 followers. Like, bruh, that's nothing. So what did they do? So I go to check today just to see, and I get this message. For those of you who are watching on video, you will see the message. It is, your account has been disabled for violating our terms of service. Now, I don't know what exact term of service I violated. And that's the thing. They never even tell you what term of service you violated. They just send you this, this cryptic message: you violated our terms of service. This is crazy. What did I say that got me on Instagram's radar? For those of you who have been following me for a while, who followed me from my other podcasts, a Bible podcast, which if you've not listened to it, check it out, Brooknom's World. I just go over my thoughts on my daily Bible study. That's all it is. I'm not a scholar. Don't profess to be a scholar. Just share my thoughts. What is it about what I say that seems to have gotten under the skin of Instagram, Facebook, the company, the parent company? I don't have a big following. That page had 56 followers. I'm nobody. I'm sharing my opinions about things that I see. And my opinions are based on the facts presented to me. I'm not just spewing some nonsense. I'm saying, here's the facts. Here's what I think about the facts. So you have two things. You'll get two things from me. I am not a reporter. That's the first thing I want you to know. The podcast is called The Thinking. There's a reason for that. This is how I think. You don't have to think like I think. Many people don't think how I think. But this is my thoughts. That's all I'm doing, is share my thoughts. When did sharing thoughts become so dangerous? And this is just my opinion. This is just what I think. I think there are some politicians that use, in my opinion, private companies to circumvent the U.S. Constitution. I'll give you an example. The United States government can't stifle speech. They can't do it at all. But if most of the speech is happening on a private platform, that private platform has every right to say, you know what? We don't like this. I'm not going to allow you to say that. They have every right to do that. Now, what I also argue is they don't then have a right to the protections given and offered by Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. I know, I've read the whole thing. I did an episode of my Brooknom's World podcast where I read the whole thing. I know what it says. You know, I don't know what's going on with social media. I don't know what they're up to. I can profess and proclaim to you that I know exactly what's going on, and I don't. And for me, that's another thing. I am not a prophet. And when I say that I don't say that term lightly. Many people throughout this news cycle, this 2020 news cycle, profess that they have with definitive proof what's going to happen in one way or another. What I'm figuring out as far as the news is concerned this year, everyone who proclaims to have the definite 100% answer about what's going to happen has been proven wrong. Maybe some things they say are right, some things they say are accurate, but many things they say have been proven wrong. Where I stand is I don't know what's going to happen. I have an idea of what I think is going to happen based on the information given to me, but those are just my thoughts. I think this gets some people upset when it comes to, let's say, the presidential race. Now, I have my beliefs about the presidential race, and I won't say that you got to be careful on these technocrat overlord platforms, but I'm sure you can get an inclination of what I think about what happened during the election. Just my opinion. Now, many people felt like Donald Trump was going to run away in a landslide. And a lot of things happened. A lot of things happened in the background. You could argue, now again, I'm saying this for the technocrat overlords, YouTube. Technocrat overlords, hear what I am saying. I am not proclaiming that Donald Trump won the election in a landslide, but there are some who do. They have their reasons for claiming that. They claim that there was widespread voter fraud. If there was widespread voter fraud, which is their claim, not mine, then even though you felt like Donald Trump was going to win the election in a landslide, for whatever reason, according to their claims, because of fraud, he didn't. All I'm saying is, you have no way of knowing how the future is going to play out. You don't know. You can have all the information, all the facts, and all the data before you. But just like in algebra, there is unknown variables, which no one ever wants to account for. And those unknown variables, unless you're God, unless you have a specific message directly from the mouth of God, you do not know the future. You do not. And that's just the bottom line. You have no idea how things are going to turn out, how things are going to play out. I wish I could say that I knew exactly what was going to happen between now and Inauguration Day. I don't know. I could sit here and sell you a pipe dream and tell you I know exactly how things are going to play out. I don't know. I think there are many people who are afraid to say they don't know because of predictions they have made in the past. Look, before the election, Given all the information I had presented before me, I thought the election was going to go in a specific direction, and it didn't go in that direction. And some claim that it didn't go in that direction because of fraud. That's what some other people claim. I'm not claiming that. Funny what you have to do these days on social media. What a time we live in. What a time we live in when a corporation in the United States would seem or appear to side with enemies of the United States. What an amazing free country where something like that can even be allowed. Wow. What would happen if these technocrat overlords get their way? You know, many times I think in times in history like this, people who want to see the system burn are often on the receiving end of that lit fire. They're normally what's used to start the fire, unknowingly or unbeknownst to them. There was one person, I can't remember who exactly the quote came from. I remember watching something or reading something where this quote was attributed to someone within the Communist Party in some country at some point. But the people who aid the takeover of tyrants are normally useful idiots. That is not meant to slander anyone. Some of these people are ignorant. Ignorance simply means you don't know. Ignorance can be weaponized. And I think we've seen that even now. I heard someone say that the Black Lives Matter official Twitter page was upset with one Mr. Joe Biden. Now, I don't just believe everything I see. So I looked this up myself, and I found that this is accurate. On the Black Lives Matter official Twitter page, they were pretty much saying, I'm paraphrasing, I read through a bunch of the tweets. They were pretty much letting Joe Biden know, hey, we helped you get there, and we don't have a seat at the table. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had some talks with some quote unquote civil rights leaders, and Black Lives Matter wasn't invited. Now, you could argue that Black Lives Matter was one of the biggest organizations carrying water for not only the Democrats, but specifically Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And apparently, they were not given a seat at the table of this talk with civil rights leaders, and they felt some type of way about it. I understand. I definitely understand. This is a group that by far and large, you could say, and you could make the argument that Black Lives Matter is the reason Joe Biden is reported to be president-elect. You could say they're the reason. You could say they are the reason for this monumental voter turnout. Can you believe Joe Biden got more votes than Barack Obama? Being sarcastic, of course. Yeah, think about that. Barack Obama, 69 million votes. Joe Biden, 80 million votes. I'm going to make a statement. This is not a claim. This is not a claim this is not a particular claim about the election results. This is just my observation. Joe Biden, one of the most bland political candidates to ever run for president. For me, Joe Biden is a political candidate that had less star power than any candidate I have ever seen in my lifetime. And when I say star power, people who become president normally have some kind of base, like a strong base. Whether you like them, whether you agree with them or not, they have a base that's strong. In my lifetime, while I was paying attention to politics, there was George Bush Sr., which had his base, and he lost his base, and then Bill Clinton became president. Bill Clinton had a fervent base. In the 90s, what? You couldn't say nothing about that man. He had a very active base. George Bush Jr., he did have a base. What he did, in my opinion, is he tapped into and used, in my opinion, the Christian community. Now, I have no idea where this man's heart lies as far as the Bible is concerned. When I say that, some of your heads might have popped. Oh, George Bush is behind this and he's behind that. Look, George Bush, it is my opinion that he is behind a lot of things, but I do not have 100% proof. So anything I say about him definitively would be a lie because I can't prove it. So I'm not just going to ascribe something to him that I can't prove. I have my thoughts about him. I don't know that man's heart. So that's why I say things the way I say them. I'm not, if I'm gonna, especially on these public platforms, you see, I can have a thought about a person. Again, I said in one of the first podcasts I did on the Thinking, I am a Christian, born again, Bible believer. I don't remove that from myself just because I'm talking about politics or tech or social issues or entertainment. I don't stop being a Christian because I'm talking about those things. So for me to attack George Bush Jr. and say something that I can't 100% prove, again, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that points to the fact that it's a probability that this guy's untrustworthy, but I don't know that for a fact. This is one thing I think a lot of people need to learn, especially believers, something we need to walk back just a little bit. There are things we think about people that may be true, but without 100% evidence, I'm bearing false witness against my neighbor. If I can't prove it without a shadow of a doubt, it's false witness. Bottom line, it's a lie. So I don't do that. I might say I have enough circumstantial evidence that it's my opinion that X, Y, or Z is true about a person. But that opinion might be false. My opinion is not a definitive statement. It's an opinion. But Joe Biden, you might have not liked Barack Obama, but he had star power. When I went to vote in that election, I saw people at the polling station that I have never seen. And I always vote. I vote in all the elections. I have never seen some of these people. People were coming out of the woodworks for Obama. It was evident. When he won, no surprise to me. I was like, this dude has star power. The people love him. Whether you like him or not, he had a strong and active base, and you have to realize that. When Donald Trump won, he really shocked the system, but he had an active, supremely active base. People who were going to support him no matter what. So when he won, even though it was a surprise, it was a shock to the system, it wasn't unbelievable. The guy's base is crazy. Joe Biden getting 80 million votes is one of the most confusing things I've ever seen politically in my whole life. Now, the argument can be made that Joe Biden did something similar to Donald Trump, right? Some people abstain from voting because they just disdain Hillary Clinton. Trump had a very active base and he got a lot of votes. Maybe it was that disdain for Hillary Clinton that got him elected. That's very possible and even likely. And you can make the argument that maybe so many people hated Donald Trump that it just pushed a massive new voting block for Joe Biden. And Joe Biden got more votes than any president in U.S. history, beating Barack Obama by some 11 or 12 million votes. Here's what doesn't make sense. I'm not proclaiming that Trump won. I'm not proclaiming that widespread voter fraud is what led to the very. I'm not proclaiming any of that. I'm just saying, yo, it's crazy. Trump gained 11 million more votes. So if I'm not mistaken, if Joe Biden wouldn't have got 80 million votes, President Trump right now would hold the record for the most votes of any president in U.S. history. I could be mistaken on that. Fact check me, but I think that's correct. If Joe Biden had not gotten 80 million votes. So you got two guys, one with a very active base that grew exponentially, that garnered more people to come out than any two candidates in U.S. history. But Joe Biden is the most perplexing. In my opinion, a bland candidate. Some people would call him a plastic candidate. That's not a slander of the man. That's just saying there's no spice to him. He's a part of the political establishment, been in Washington for 47 years. He's not offering something he's not offering a breath of fresh air, contrary to popular belief. Some people do believe that. And I believe these are ignorant voters. Again, the word ignorant is not a slander. It simply means you don't know. There's people that really don't know who Joe Biden is, really don't know what he's about. He didn't really campaign. There was only 2 debates. The first debate was a disaster by every stretch of the imagination. And this is where you have to be willing to accept accurate criticism of Donald Trump. Donald Trump as a politician, as far as his actions, was getting busy. I appreciate much of what he was doing. He was getting busy. As a communicator, less than to be desired. Now, I'm going to differ from most people. I didn't mind his tweets. The reason I didn't mind his tweets is if you have a political establishment 100% in the pocket for your enemies, whoever they may be. The political establishment didn't really care during Donald Trump's presidency. They don't really care about whether they hurt America or not. As long as they hurt Donald Trump, it's irrelevant to them. You are a accepted casualty of their fight against Donald Trump. That's, in my opinion, from what I've seen. The establishment does not care. They will burn the country down if it means they can get to Donald Trump. So I understood his tweets. You have the political establishment against you. You have the media against you. What are you going to say? You're going to go directly to the people and speak very candidly. It's going to be speech that people don't like, but you got to say what you got to say. You got to get it off your chest. So I get that. But he had the whole establishment against him. His base, super active. But Joe Biden, I struggle to see how Joe Biden got 80 million votes. But that's what they're saying. He got 80 million votes. Now, again, Let me reiterate. I'm not talking about or claiming that there was any fraud in this election. There were many or are many questions, many statistical anomalies. That's a fact. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a fact. I don't know, man. Joe Biden, the most votes of any president in U.S. history by a long shot. Let that sink in. I guess I'm just trying to get myself banned across all social media, because even talking about these things, I guess, is not warranted. But this is how some of these politicians, as I was getting to earlier, circumvent the U.S. Constitution. They don't enforce unconstitutional laws, but they can encourage these, air quotes, private companies to have policies to stifle certain viewpoints. Oh, that's a private company. They can do what they want. Agreed. They can also be liable to lawsuits because they have, in essence, in their actions, lost their protections given to them by Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. If you read Section 230, you will see why these platforms should lose the protections offered to them by Section 230. They are not neutral platforms. They are platforms that are really publishers with an agenda. They're not platforms at all. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. A lot of weird stuff, but again, I'm banned. My Thinking channel is banned off of Instagram. Why? I had a channel, my Bible channel, and this is one of the reasons why, one of many reasons why I think it was a good idea to separate my biblical channel, my political, social, and other issue channel. One, because I want to be a help to the body of Christ and share my thoughts on the Bible. Now, whether that helps anyone or not, I don't know. I'm just sharing my thoughts, share my daily Bible study. Maybe somebody's helped from it. Maybe nobody cares. I don't know. But the one thing I did not want to do is muddy that channel with things that might get it deleted, because I have gotten some messages from people who are helped from those videos. So I didn't want to jeopardize that. But I had an Instagram channel banned before. It's not the first time. Similar situation. Oh, weird activity. Verify your identity. We'll get back to you in 24 hours. Oh, you violated our terms of service. They were combing through my videos just looking for a reason. And on that channel, it was strictly Bible. I didn't really go into politics much. If you follow me there, every now and again, I'll have a video where I discuss politics, just because I don't believe it's something we can just avoid, which is why I created the Thinking. Welcome. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. We have many ignorant voters. That needs to change. Whatever we can do to get that to change. And I think one of the things we can do to get that to change is actually have conversations with people and not arguments. I've learned that you have to give a little, back away a little bit. Sometimes people just don't want to hear. I'll tell you from my standpoint. When I'm wrong, if somebody, I try to be good about this, but I'm not always. When I'm wrong, I try my best to accept that, oh, this person is giving me something I didn't know. I need to consider this. I'm wrong. Doesn't always work out that way, especially when a person's abrasive. If you come at me abrasive, oh, you're going to be hard pressed to get me to admit that I'm wrong. That's not the right approach. I'm being honest with you. I am just being honest with you. But when somebody has a discussion and it's a, hey, have you considered this? Just think about that. And they let it go. I do think about it. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? Man, they got a point. I think I might be wrong on this. Let me look into this. I think we can take the same approach in talking to people instead of feeling a need to force them to see what's right. Sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes you just got to drop breadcrumbs. I think that's what we need to do, because the one of the biggest weapons our enemies use against us is ignorant voters that do not know. That is what I believe happened in this election. I believe there is honest people who voted for Joe Biden out of ignorance. There's things they did not know. And of course, the media doesn't want you to know these things. This is why you got to be patient with people. And this is not a, if you notice, I'm not really talking about Republicans or Democrats, because this is not, for me, this is not a Republican or Democrat issue. I always tell people I have no party affiliation. All I'm concerned with is what policies are most beneficial to the United States, most in line with the Bible as much as possible. You're not going to have a perfect politician or perfect policy, but as much as possible. That's what I'm concerned about. If you hate the United States and you want to see a destruction to our way of life, I cannot support you. For me, it's that simple. It's not about party. It's about those principles. Those things right there. And I'm not saying that any one person is going to line up with that perfectly, but that's what I try to stick to as much as humanly possible. That's what I try to stick to. So I don't care about Republicrats and Democrats, because that's what we have going on. Libertarians, that's a whole nother animal. That's a whole podcast in and of itself. I have my gripes with libertarians. That's just me. Like I said, this is my personal opinions. So this is not, like I said, a matter of left or right, Republican, Democrat. It's a matter of the establishment doing what the establishment does, and that's abusing the ignorance of voters who don't pay attention. They know exactly what they are doing. Our enemies know exactly what they are doing. Sometimes I sound like I'm a broken record, like I'm beating a dead horse. Because really the issues and the turmoil that we have going on now is very simple. And I mean, it doesn't change. Divide and conquer. One of the easiest ways to do that is to put ignorant voters, people who don't know, up against voters that have been maybe paying a little attention. And then you have another crowd that's hyper focused. And then you also have another crowd that just wants to burn the whole thing down. Look, some of our enemies have been lying at the gate for many years, sowing the seeds of discord for many years, and they are watching the fruit of that patient work pay off right now and what we see going on in the United States. I just hope we're not so asleep that we're not paying attention and we don't catch on before this thing burns down. Y'all know what it is. Stay frosty, people.